So now I'm all finished the rear brakes. I'm going to do the brake fluid flush. So now you want to suck out as much of the old fluid as possible before you start the procedure and before you start to top up the master cylinder. So once you do that, you want to top up the master cylinder all the way. And now since we're doing it manually, you have to manually top up the master cylinder each and every time. Make sure it doesn't run low. Because if it runs low, you'll start to have problems. You will introduce air into the system. So now I'm going to remove the rubber cap here, bleeder cap. And either you can use a bleeder wrench that looks like this, or you can use a regular wrench or a 6-point wrench over here. It's an 8mm. To use this, it's easier for me. It's a 6-point. So what you do, crack open the bleeder like this. Now you want to make sure that you open all of the bleeders on the vehicle before you start the brake flush, because you want to make sure that none of the bleeders are seized up, because if it's seized up, then you probably have to unseize it in order for you to perform the brake flush. So now I'm going to turn the machine on. I'm using the Medivac model number MV6830 vacuum brake bleeder machine. You want to open the bleeder all the way. So you gotta make sure you top up the master cylinder every time. And so as this procedure is running, you want to repeat the procedure for the other wheels. It's the same thing. We are starting on the right rear, then we're gonna go to the left rear, and then the right front, and then the left front. So now we are going to close this up. We're just going to close this for the time being and proceed to the other side. Now ideally you're supposed to flush and or bleed furthest away from the master cylinder. So in this case you would start on the rear right, and then you work your way through to the left rear, the right front, and then the left front. This is just the general procedure for bleeding brakes, but every manufacturer, they may have a different procedure. So you may have to look up on service information to check the correct bleeding and or flushing procedure. Every vehicle will vary. Now we are going on to the right front now. And you have to make sure, once again, to keep on topping off the master cylinder. So now we are at the left front. So now I'm done doing the flush using the vacuum bleeder. So right now I'm gonna do the gravity bleeding because I've had problems in the past with just using the vacuum bleeder alone because I usually get air in the system somehow. So now I'm gonna be using these these bottles for the gravity bleeding, and so I'm gonna install these on all four wheels. So what I do here is I install these on the bleeders, and I open the bleeder up, and then I let these gravity bleed at the same time. So I just open up the bleeder here. And let this gravity bleed. And we would repeat the procedure for the rest of the three wheels. So now I'm just going to let these gravity bleed probably for 10 to 15 minutes. And then also make sure that the master cylinder is topped up. So once you're all done, you want to close all the bleeders up. And you want to do the same for the rest of the other wheels. Close everything up. So now you want to clean down the area with the brake cleaner. So now when you're all done with the brakes, before you go for a road test, you want to pump the brake pedal several times until you get a firm brake pedal. Once you get a firm brake pedal, and then you're all good to go. So after you pump the brake pedal, just make sure the brake fluid reservoir is full. Close it up, and then wash everything down.